Welcome to the Be That Healing Girl podcast. Today we're going to talk about, on this episode, healing your fear of abandonment. All right. And so this is you if you are just constantly on the lookout, on the scan for, man, this person is going to up and leave. All right. They just told you they love you, and you the next day are just deathly scared the moment that they don't text back in 0.4 seconds that they're just going to dump you. All right. So this is essentially a fear of abandonment. And I think what is also so unique about my community, especially the women that are in the Healing Girl Gang, is that there is no reason. Your partner has given you zero reason to worry about that. And yet you still can't help but freak out. Okay. And if that is you, then you are in the right place, honey. We're going to talk about it and save this episode, download it, all the things. And if you're new here, my name is Claire. I love helping high-achieving, perfectionistic girlies who are crushing the career ladder, but you are being crushed with your confidence in your relationship. That's kind of a new one. But if that is you and you just feel totally out of control with the overthinking spiral, you can't help but just go down the downward spiral, that they're just going to abandon you, they're going to leave you, and you've been together for X years and they've given you no reason. So if that is you, then you're here. I get it. So let's talk about it. Oh, and if you're also enjoying this episode or any other episodes, hitting the 5-star review seriously is so meaningful to me. I can't tell you how scary it is. It's spooky season anyway. I'm wearing my green sweater, the spooky sweater, if you're watching on YouTube. But it's scary to just talk to a camera, and I don't know who's going to listen to this. So hitting the 5 stars, whenever I upload it, I see you high-fiving me, and it really means so much. So thank you for doing that. Okay, let's dive in. So the first thing that I want to say about how do you actually heal, both, the fear of abandonment is actually by facing your fear. And I want to give you 2 examples of how, like, literally on 2 sides of the spectrum of when in the one direction I was definitely not in the right place or the right mindset to heal, because I was not facing my fear. I was definitely running away from it. And then I'll share with you what changed. So there was a guy. There's always a guy. And I really thought he was something special. Like, there was something inside me. I just cringed thinking about this. But at the time, I really thought he was great. And I thought he was successful and handsome and athletic and all these great things. And we were together for 2 years. Now, this is not a contest, but I really do believe I have one of the worst ghosting stories ever, besides being left at the altar. But even then, like, you're seeing them and they're leaving you. But this person I was together for 2 years, y'all. I remember this so clearly. I was about to go teach a yoga class. It was a very busy class because it was Sunday. It was for beginners, which I loved. And he decided to end this relationship via text. And I remember my brain couldn't even compute what was happening, that we were supposed to hang out, and he just said, I'm done. Like, I don't want to be in a relationship. And now looking back, there were so many signs that he was done, and he just didn't have the balls to tell me. So he took the chicken shit way out and broke up with me via text. But I remember teaching that class, and I just wanted the class to finish, but at this particular studio, the way you teach the sequence was very, like, it's like a certain time. And I remember, like, I was pretty much done. Like, I had sped through the whole freaking thing. I had like 15 minutes left. That was not good, because I wanted to crawl out of my skin. I wanted to I couldn't handle being in my body. I wanted to just get out of the class and, like, figure it out. So, and in that horrible just ghosting, I mean, this is like the reason I'm doing this kind of facing your fears. Also, Halloween is like a couple days away. So I thought, like, why not talk about fears? But not only in that moment was it horrible, I was ghosted, but when I look back at the entire relationship, I was not facing truth. I was not facing the thing that I was actually scared of, that he was actually just not available for me. That's why he ghosted. He was not available. And I had signs. And looking back, I had so many signs. People were trying to help me. At the time, I was a Lululemon ambassador. I know, super cool and cute. And I remember, when you're an ambassador, that you're friends with basically the store, because that's your job. And he saw that I had all this Lulu stuff, and he wanted to impress me. And so he went to the store and he got me something. But one of the people that worked there, one of the educators, told me later, she didn't even think, she sent me a message. She's like, hey, so and so came into the store and I think he was hitting on me. And I was so out. I just didn't want to face it. I did not want to look at the thing that I was scared of, which is he just didn't want to be with me. He wanted to leave me. And so instead of facing my fear and addressing it with her or with him, I just was like, oh, like, that's nothing. And I literally poo-pooed it off. And now, hindsight, I'm like, 1,000%. She was a girl's girl. She was trying to help me out. But I didn't want to face the fear or face the illusion that I wasn't enough, right? So instead of doing something about it, I played along with it. I just went with it. I was like, it's not that big a deal. I don't know. And that was early in our relationship too. I had many signs. So when I say facing fear, this is also the other side of the spectrum. So with my sweet husband now, who is my boyfriend at a certain time, there was a definite pivotal moment where we had an all-out anxious and avoidant fight. And I'm not talking like going back and forth, but maybe you've experienced this, but the energy was so much like something, like we were talking about something hard. Okay. And we got into the classic, like, he wanted to run. And when I say run, I mean like literally leave the building, like get in a car and like get the fuck out of there. Okay. And I just wanted to like, make it better. And in this moment, both of us, I opened up. I faced a fear of mine. I was vulnerable, okay? Vulnerability in the past was one of the scariest things. So I opened my heart. I shared with him my truest, deepest feeling, the thing that I was scared of, the thing that just was really hurting in my heart. And it was not even about our relationship. It was just about a really deep wound for me around my dad. And in that moment of facing my fear of vulnerability, that if I tell him this thing, he is going to reject me. He's not going to care, or he's going to poo-poo it. He's going to dismiss it. He's not going to bring it in. And that moment of facing my fear of vulnerability, he melted into me. We melted into each other. And I just, that feeling and that click, and that's just one moment. But the more that I have healed my anxious attachment into an earned secure, because I've heard this kind of floating around. I'm like, gosh, that's so resonates with me, that because while feeling secure in your relationship is a right, it is something that we have to earn, sadly, for most of us. But in that moment of facing my deepest fear of vulnerability, that was what truly connected us deeper. He was so much more receptive to me when I actually said the hardest thing that was in the past was so timid to say. And so that's one facet. The other facet in healing this fear of abandonment is being in our discomfort. Okay. And so the moment, it's kind of like what I would say, we touch the cold water and like, ooh, like I don't want to get in that. And the reality, and I don't know if you've ever done cold plunge, you just got to get in. And it's going to be intense, right? When you get in that cold water, it is intense, right? It fires so much up inside you. Your body literally wants to just get out. But one of the things as we face the fear, that might be vulnerability, That might be, wow, okay, this person may not be a fit for me. When we face the fear and we're willing to be in the discomfort, one of the key things I teach my clients in the Healing Girl Gang and in one-on-one is how to hold yourself in the frigid water, how to hold yourself in the discomfort. Now, I'm not saying grit down and bear it and blah, like torture, no pain, no gain. That's not what I'm saying. But really being able to be in your body and be in the truth of what's happening and hold yourself, because the moment you go for that reassurance and you try to alleviate that pain, you actually reinforce the belief that you can't stand it. Does that resonate? The more that you go and you actually get the reassurance, you are reinforcing actively. You are training yourself that you can't do it. So first part is facing the fear. The next part is being willing to be in the discomfort. And here's the thing. With that stress, and when I say stress or that discomfort, that's how we grow, right? So the more that you are able to learn over time, and there's other tools in this to help you with that, but as you learn how to be in the discomfort, to sit in the discomfort, to build a resilience in it, that's actually how you grow. It's just like training a muscle, right? You need to, the muscle is going to burn. Okay. I'm just not going to, there's no lying about it. Like if you are wanting to get stronger, you want to get a Beyonce butt, I use that a lot, then your buns are going to burn. Okay. They're going to be tight. You might be sore for a week, 2 weeks, who knows if you've never done it before. But that stress, that discomfort is necessary in the growth. And the key is, or the thing that holds us back from healing is that we run away. Instead of facing the fear, we jet, we avoid, we distract, we numb, we do anything than facing the fear. Okay? So in honor of spooky season, this is my invitation to you to face it, to stay committed, to get some night lights. I don't know, like whatever you need. And the reality is it's always easier with the support. Okay? So that being said, speaking of support, I can't wait to go to the mailbox, because in the Healing Girl Gang,